Hi guys, and welcome to day 12 of my stream. Let me remind you what I'm working on. I'm working on a React app. This will be a text encryption app like many you see online. I will show you current progress. It's something like this. Users will be able to enter some text to transform, for example, to encrypt it. Here they will select what they want to do with this text, for example, AES encryption. And here they will be able to see the output. Yesterday I was styling this transform window and I had some issues with this style. I'm using Material UI to style everything. And I had some issues because I wanted these inputs to be smaller than that because they're taking too much space. And it seemed like it's not possible. But I think I found what I needed. I checked off screen, I checked Material UI docs a little more, and I found the API which I actually need. If you ever wondered where you can find the reference, this is where it is, Components API. I was actually trying to search for Material UI reference and couldn't find any. But this is called here Component API. That's what you need. So if we go to text field component, which I use to display these inputs, that's actually text field components. So if we go to the text field component, then here it shows which components it consists of. So I could just take some of these components and make my own component. This would be one way. So there is a form control component which wraps multiple other components. So I could just take form control component and wrap input and input label myself. This is one idea I have. Another idea, actually, this text input provides you a way to pass classes. Where did I see it? Yeah, these are classes, but here they see CSS API. You can actually only provide root class, which is not what we want, because here what we really want, we want to make this input smaller. There is some padding set in this in CSS. Some padding is there, I think. Yeah, I think this padding. I would like to make this padding smaller, both padding top and padding bottom. So these both I want to make smaller. And maybe I probably want to move this label somehow. This label. I don't find it here. And this label I would like to move a little top maybe. I can use probably margin bottom for that here. Will this move? No, I think this won't move it. Anyway, there is a way to move it top. So the point is, instead of creating my own elements, I could try and pass classes to the input via this input props variable. or maybe these input props. So these input props will be applied to the input element. Attributes applied to the input element. So let's first try this second option. That was Cypress tests. This is not the element I need. I need this element. This element contains all the text fields we need. So here there should be a way to pass input props. Or let's start with input props. Or maybe even these input props. Yeah, I think this text field we don't really need here. Instead, I can apply it to this thing. Last name. Classes input. Okay, let's look at this. Something is wrong here. It doesn't look like it was applied. Let me look at this again. No, it was applied actually. From what I can see, it is applied. I said margin top. It should be saying padding instead. Padding top and padding bottom. Padding top and padding bottom. Yeah, is it applied now? Yeah, I think it is applied. Somehow I feel it. I don't know. Even if I set it to 0, I think something is terribly wrong here. This is margin bottom, not padding. No, it's saying padding. Yeah, okay. Now I think it's fine, more or less. What we want here, we would want to move this label a little also. So is there label props? No, only like this. Okay, I'll check in the docs. Label. No, I think there is no label props. I will use these input label props. This means that these props will be applied to this element, input label, which in its turn will need to contain classes. Classes applied to which element, I'm not sure. How do I apply it just to label, I wonder. How do I apply it to the label element? Okay, maybe it's a root. It will be a root, hopefully. So I will try to do it like this. First I will create a object for label style. Use label style because I think it won't work. Theme, actually, this is how you should create it properly. Create styles. Position, relative, top maybe -2 pixels. So what I want is to move this label, so it's not here right now. So I want to move the label of this input a little up. Can't find theme. Okay. Now you should be able to find create styles. Type string is not assignable. What are you talking about? Right. I need to call this somehow root. Apply to root element. So this will be passed to the input props, to these props. So that's why according to its CSS API here, using root object. So label classes. Now we need to get these classes which will be created here. Use label style. Now that these classes are created, I want to apply them to the input label classes. Hopefully this will work. What is this? Let me look at here better. Overload 1 of 2. Type ID string class name string input props input label true is not assignable to type. So this I don't get it. Is it because of this? Our input props? Somehow yes. But I can't understand why. Oh, no, not because of this. I mean, because of this. Yeah, I think because of this. No, not because of this. That's weird. Why this happening then? Okay, once again, overload, props, text filter, direct element, blah blah blah. I don't get it. The interesting thing, it first gets built. Okay, now I think it got built. Now there are no issues. It seems. Okay. So it shouldn't be saying input label. What am I saying? It's not input label, it's input label props. That's what it should be saying. Okay. Think something weird happened to this. Yeah, I think I know why. Because position relative, right? I think here should be position absolute actually. Position absolute, and here, hold on, it's working with position absolute. Is this position relative here? Yes. Okay, then with position absolute it should work. And here we can say set it to -5 maybe. Okay, then here we'll set it to position absolute. Let's So you're using position absolute when you want to position it absolutely along, then coordinates usually start from the top left corner. But there is a difference if you set element to position absolute, but parent is set to position relative, then then the coordinates will be counted from the parent relative to the parent. Okay, something similar happens if parent is set to position absolute. In this case also usually coordinates of the child with position absolute will be counted from the parent relative to the parent, but there is a trick. If you set parent to position absolute but you don't set the coordinates of that parent, then it will still take it will still start coordinates with the top left corner of the window. So that's why correct way would be to set parent container to position relative, which is actually already set, you see, position relative. If we remove this position relative, then we also have here position relative. But let's say we would change this to position unset. Yeah, I think unset anyway. Let's say we remove this position absolute. Okay, I think it's set. Anyway, usually this will result in a wrong positioning. Okay, so we made these things with just one element. I think we can now set these input props and input label props to all the text fields. But there is a catch here. We actually don't want all our elements to be text fields here in the AES decrypt, because key and IV will need to be entered as the strings, right? However, bits and variation, we should have drop downs here because we have a selected number of options here. So let's check our encoding drop down, how we were going to make drop downs. Okay, form control, input label, and native select. That's what we should be doing. Form control, input label, native select. So input label we already have, so only I need to import form control and native select. What's this? Oh, I'm sorry. It should be taking it from core. I was trying to import it from our own module, from the styles module. Okay, so with the last two, we actually want drop downs here. With bits and variation. So let us try to do a drop down. Last name. Curious encrypt HTML4. we need to set this ID to the same value which we set to HTML4, because label needs to know for which element it is a label for. So this is number of bits here. Classes, I think we don't really need to set it now. I can even remove it probably. Okay, there is some input element which is set to. I'm not sure if we really need this. What if I just remove it? What happens? What happens if I just do this? Cannot find name input label, but it is there. No. No, somehow it's not there. Input label, okay. Yeah, something terrible is happening here. With just normal select. Let me look at this bootstrap drop down. So what this bootstrap drop down does, now I can see this actually rather clear. It just sets some CSS for input. So here we have set padding. That's why the padding, I think it might be a little smaller. 26, this is a which padding, I wonder. I think if I set it to 12. Because I'm afraid this drop down will be too big here. Let me try. Form control. Oops, sorry. So input is going here, right? I think it was here. No. No, it was a native select. here is yes, options bits. Okay, let's look at this. Yeah, first of all, I'm not even sure what to say about this. We have to style it ourselves. So I would create my own this bootstrap thing. This comes from core. Okay, this is a wrong thing where I just pasted it. Yeah, I should have pasted it here. So I will call this encryption dropdown, or maybe transform dropdown, and I might have a separate element for this. Yeah, maybe I can create a separate file for this, a subcomponent. Transform element dropdown tsx. Transform element. So I will define it in a separate file so we can reuse it. What I can change here? Let's first assign it, then we'll try to think what we can change. Transform element drop down. So this we don't need anymore. Now we imported this drop down settings. These drop down settings, and let's look how this is going to work here. So that's how. Let's make it bigger first. Let's set width. Is there any width here? No. So let's say width. To 100%. Somehow it's not affecting it. I don't know where this is coming from. You see there is a big spacing on top also. In here I also can see this. Okay, here we have margin top. Yeah, this is the thing. This margin top. I wonder, this AES encrypt I just saw now. I already have this drop down, right? How did I set width here? But this margin top, where is it coming from? Ah, here. That's where it's coming from. I think I can just remove this. Yeah, now it's fine. But I wonder, transform element component, right? Here we have transform selection drop down component. So I just set it here, right? So I could just use it on native select. And use bootstrap drop down. Okay, let's try. But I don't like this part in the bootstrap drop down where it adds this padding. Why this padding added? I'm not sure. I would just remove it. Ah, it's added because of these. Okay then. So it says form control width also, right? Okay, let's go to this transform element drop down. So I don't think we need to set this again. We can use just bootstrap drop down. This bootstrap drop down I could use. Not here. Here. What is the name here? Bit select. Only here I need form control set width here in form control. Form control I'm setting width to 100%. Here, select also width 100%. Okay. So we have it here, but somehow I don't know what is happening here. This encoding, I don't want it to take so much space here. First of all, it's not encoding. This time these are bits, right? And here I will have 128, 192, and 256. So that's what I'm not liking from this Bootstrap drop-down. Only thing I'm not liking here is this. Okay, I'll leave it for now like this. But what is this padding here? Or what is this margin? You see, the interval between these two elements is bigger than these two elements, and I think even these two, because I think of different margins set. You see here margin top, margin bottom. Yeah, these margins are kinda different. Actually, what if I set margin dense here? No, I think this won't work. What am I going to do here? I would set margin to none everywhere in the text field, at least. And then I can manually set margin where I need it. Yeah, I need to move labels a little. Is it possible to set this margin here in form control? I will also set margin dense. Yeah, this is fine like this, I think. And also now another element for CBC or ECB variation. CBC and ECB. I would change this internal padding to something. Or maybe I can change margins everywhere. If I set margin top to 2 pixels everywhere in the yeah, selectors won't be effective here. Okay, just elements then. Somehow I feel this is not right, but what can you do? Okay, it's taking much less space now, but somehow it doesn't look good. Margin top 6. How is this possible? Dense. I don't think that's a good idea. Okay. What happened? Property element does not exist on type. Yeah, just removed it. hold on, I just removed it. It can't be. Yeah. So I would make these space in here a little smaller. What are these paddings? First of all, I would like to see which paddings exactly we're changing, because this doesn't seem to affect anything to me. Is it affecting anything? I think something related to labels. Okay, this padding affects something. I think it somehow affects the labels. Okay, and this padding affects this. Okay, actually like this, but I don't understand how these labels are coming from here. Yeah, this is what happens when you style existing systems which you don't completely understand. You should take this into account when you try to play with somebody else's UI framework. But I think I can leave it at that for now. It's a little, we could have a little more space, I think. A little more space we could have. Maybe I can set this to 7, because 6 is too much already. Actually, even 7 is too much. What if I try to set margin none instead again? So I think margin none leads to some other issues. Is it? Let me try setting margin none everywhere again. And adding here some padding, or what is it, margin top here it says. Margin top and maybe margin bottom. Yeah, this is more or less fine, I think, right? At least I can live with that. Maybe this key and IV I can move a little up, where that maybe -8 pixels would be great. Yeah, I think this should be good. Okay, now we have two drop downs, correct drop downs with values for bits. Now we have everything we need to perform AES encryption on the text. All the user input we have. I'm not sure how much time is it now. Okay, it's 55 minutes of the stream now. Oh, styling is a very tedious task and it takes quite some time. That's why people use UI framework to save themselves from styling. But as you can see, sometimes you have to change something in the existing framework, and in this case it's even harder than it was before. So tomorrow I think I can start working on the actual logic of the encryption. Let me first go and look at the page load spec a little. Check if our Cypress test is passing. Expected to find out alters transforms alters a encrypt variation input. Okay, this one. Yeah, I think it won't find it because I didn't give that name to anyone. Yeah, this one is the variation input. This one. And TRSAS options bits. So these are some different things. It shouldn't be saying bits, it should be saying variation. Variation. Options variation. Okay. Now I think it should succeed. Yes. Now it succeeded. And this Cypress window uses a little smaller window so that there is not enough space. Which makes me think, how is this going to work on mobile? I'm thinking that this design needs some redesign. I'm starting to think. Maybe we could take some space from the input and give it to the output instead. And give it to the transforms panel instead. Where do we set these width? Okay, this is the TRS panel. Height here is 30 VW. Maybe this one could be smaller. Maybe I will check this later. For now, I wanted to add this test to check the drop downs. I would want an option with value equaling ECB. It should exist. And with CBC also should exist. Hold on, let me check Trello. This one 16. So this one I completed fixed transform element styles. Let's say completed. I not completely completed it, but I somewhat completed it. No, this is ECB and CBC, and now bits. Option value, where value equals 128 should exist 128, 192, and 156. '92 and 256. Okay, let's check on this one. Yeah. Let me check again what is wrong here. First of all, this one shouldn't be here. So it can't find option. No, not options. It should say option, not options. That's a little weird. TRSA is bits input here. This is right. And here we have an option. I don't know, maybe we should set it like this, 92, 256. Oh, it should say should exist, not should be exist. It was be visible before. Still can't find it. You can use only to run just this test. I don't get it. Yeah, I first should select. I first should have selected the AS encrypt option. I forgot to do that. Yeah, now it's working correctly. So this one should be done. 16. ECB, and this one also I will do now. This one, this test checks that we have a drop down with values ECB and CBC. I already have tests here. Okay, these all are working. I should have written tests before actually doing this. So this is a little incorrect. When an element is selected to be an AES transform. Yeah, I think this one we can remove. Number 15. This one we can remove because it says when we click the drop down, this drop down, and select AES encrypt, we should be seeing the AES encrypt in the drop down. But the point is, there is no HTML CSS friendly way to check this. We would need to set some attribute from React and then to check it, but there is no point in doing this actually. So that's what I'm removing this one. 15. When an element is selected to be an AES transform element in the transformation selection dropdown, the user should see the bit selection dropdown. Yeah, this one actually is already part of the other one, of part of 13. So this one I can say duplicate. I will create duplicates. So this one is duplicate of 13. Duplicate of 13. This one. Now 17. When an element is selected to be an AES transform element. Yeah, this one also, duplicate of 13. I already implemented this test in 13. When an element is selected to be an AES transform element in the transformation selector dropdown, the user should see input with a random key in base64 format. Okay, this one is not done yet. We can set it to in progress. This one I will do later. 13.1, I can put it to deferred. No, I think I leave it in the to do. When an element is selected to be an AES transform element in the transformation selection dropdown, the user should see IV input with a random value in base64 format. So these basically tests are to check if there is some random value. This I haven't done yet. This I will do tomorrow, I think. And this one is the actual transform. So when we enter some text or change text, then we should immediately see a result of this transformation here. This is the actual functionality test. Okay, I think this is enough for today. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, please subscribe. And see you tomorrow, same time. Now I think it's very probable we will reach some logical part and we will see text actually encrypt. I will commit my changes for today. You will be able to see them on Firebase. So if you have any questions, please ask them. Comments, questions, much appreciated. Thank you.